Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Folge Chaos Noah. Ich gehe zumindest davon aus, wir haben beim letzten Mal nach einem D-Sword gesucht und ich gehe davon aus, dass wir es jetzt auch gekauft haben und jetzt befinden wir uns auf dem Heimweg, nachdem wir langsam aber sicher mehr und mehr des Wahnsinns werden offenbar. Everything after that was sell. Town Vanguard didn't do deliveries, so my only option was to luck at home myself. Toy or not, my excitement died instantly when I realized I would have to carry that stupidly long sword right through the heart of Shibuya. But I had already paid for it, and the clerk adamantly refused to let me return it. This was a really intense form of humiliation roleplay. Having to haul a huge toy like this down a fancy street, just as I'd come to expect. The DQN cupboards dolled up grills and whatever other manner of sheep that passed me by all had those same exact mocking smiles. Damn it, every last one of you should just... I focused intently on keeping my head down for the rest of the way home. Having delusions all the way about swinging my newly bought D-Sword at the innocent people in the middle of the road, viciously slaughtering piles und Piles aus dem Alter, ey. Also, I'd finally made it back. Also, was ich mich jetzt schon gefragt habe, also, ich weiß nicht, ob das so ein guter Lebensort ist, um ehrlich zu sein, in so einem Container, weil im Sommer könnte es da drin ganz schön warm werden, befürchte ich mal. Im Winter etwas sehr kalt, weil das Ding ist ja nicht gut isoliert. Da hat das jemand nicht gut durchdacht. Und außerdem ist ja seine Küche und Waschzeug ja alles draußen. Er hat ja nichts da drin. Das heißt, im Winter muss er das alles draußen machen. Das ist irgendwie nicht so ganz durchdacht, die ganze Aktion, habe ich so den Eindruck gerade. I had started running when I was about halfway home and I didn't stop until I got there. So I was gasping for air by the time when I had reached my base. The ice-cold stares of the pedestrians were killing me. I was somewhat impressed that Senna was able to endure this kind of embarrassment all the time. In a way, I even respected her for it. I could never do what she did. Suddenly a sound came from a blind spot in the shadow of my base. Was someone there? Freezing in my tracks, I gulped. The pure white smile of the demon girl who called herself Remy appeared in my mind. Maybe she'd come back, maybe this time she'd come to kill me for real. What should I do? Should I run? I sensed a presence. The light of the sunset etched someone's shadow onto the ground. One that I knew without a shadow of a doubt had to be female. I immediately readied my D-Sword. When I actually tried holding it like that, though it felt even less reliable than I had expected it to. Senna's sword had felt incredibly intimidating, and it had the sense of overwhelming pressure that wouldn't allow anyone to get near it. But the D-Sword I was holding didn't feel like that at all. Maybe it really was a fake. Could I really fight with something like this? There was no way, even if I had a real one, I still couldn't do it. Not only that, but I hadn't realized how heavy it really was until I first started holding it just now. Maybe I was holding it wrong. In any case, it would be impossible to even swing it like this. The shadow suddenly wavered. It was approaching me. I shut my eyes tight and haphazardly swung the sword in front of me. I knew I wouldn't be able to defeat my enemies this way. Even so, I had the faint hope that as long as I had the sword, it would somehow do something anyway. But I didn't feel it hit anything. Nor did my enemy make a sound. I couldn't believe it. Could that single strike of mine have utterly annihilated the demon girl? So that would be the best shit to ever happen to...
鬼、その剣何？
Nanami! Der Blick, ich finde die Mimik von Nanami in dem Spiel klasse. Muss ich sagen, dieser Blick ist so... Der trifft 100%ig immer. When I opened my eyes, the one standing in there wasn't the demon girl, but rather Nanami. She was looking at me with unmistakably judgmental eyes. All my strength disappeared instantly and I dropped to the ground right where I'd been standing. She was the worst little sister ever. Didn't she know how shitty it was to scare her own older brother like this, let alone enjoy it? Who the hell did she think she was? This was exactly why 3D would always pale in the comparison to 2D. Hey.
別に脅かしてないよ。いつもみたいにお兄の生存確認しに来てあげたんじゃん。なのにいないんだもん。
I just came over for your routine survival check, finde ich so geil.
なんでナナが30分もお兄のこと心配しながら待ってなくちゃいけないわけ？ナナの貴重な時間が無駄に消えてっちゃったじゃん。お兄のバカ。
Worried, this bitch is worried about me, as if I would ever fall for such an obvious lie.
で、どこ行ってたの？出かけるなんて珍しいじゃん。携帯にかけても繋がんないし。
I had left my phone behind at my base. It wasn't like anyone was gonna call me while I was out, so I had seen no point in bringing it.
そもそも、その件何なの？もしかして買ってきたの？
Nanami peered curiously at the sword.
あ、わかった。アニメのおもちゃかなんかでしょ？ほんと、お兄ってオタクさんだね。しかもこのおもちゃ、ちっとも似合ってないよ。さっきだってへっぴり腰で構えちゃってて、思い出したら笑えてきた。
Uff, das ist ein Schlag in die Magengrube. Ignoring Nanami, I undid the lock on the door to the containers and made to go inside.
ちょっと、無視すんな。
帰れ。
If she had just come to check if I was alive, then she would get what she wanted, and she no longer had any reason to be here. She was always making fun of me, and every time she came over, she would do nothing but complain. If she was really that put off of being here, then she didn't have to come at all. It was annoying anyway. It had been no skin off my back if she stopped.
わざわざ様子見に来てあげてんだから、もっとありがたがってよ。せっかくお土産まで持ってきたのにね。
Oh, her voice was whiny as could be, and she pursed her lips.
そう、お母さんが持ってけって。ほら。
Nami handed me a bag of clementines. There were about 10 of them, wrapped up in red netting. Weird, something's fishy here. I would eat clementines if they were right in front of me, but they weren't my favorite food or anything.
というわけで、ナナもちょっと一服したいから一緒に食べてあげる。
帰れ。
もう、妹がお土産持ってきて、しかも一緒に食べてあげるって言ってるんだよ。もっと喜びなよ。
What exactly about eating clementines with Nami supposed to make me feel happy at all? And besides, it was obvious that she didn't just want to eat clementines, and that was the whole reason why she had come here. She had been as fat as ever since we were little, often stealing my potion to add to hers. I couldn't count the amount of times we had fought over that. Nanami, unable to take a hint, waltzed right on into my base. I gave up and followed in after her.
お茶ある？あったかいのがいいな。
Why the hell would I have tea? I only drink cola and nothing else. Nanami sat down on the sofa and grabbed a clementine. I sat down in the D-sword so it would lean against my computer desk. Warte mal, mir ist aufgefallen, hier fehlt jetzt wieder eine Figur. Oder ist das sie da oben? Alucard war falsch gewesen. Alkite oder so hieß sie, aber mit Melty Blood war ich schon richtig. I had no reason to continue carrying the bangle in my pocket, so I just chucked it somewhere behind it.
あれ？それ何？
Quickly spotting the banger I'd thrown on the floor, Nami went to pick it up.
へえ、かわいいバングルじゃん。これも買ってきたの？お兄にしてはいいセンス。
Cute? How? The thing was nothing more than a piece of junk you would get for 500 yen at worst. I couldn't believe how bad Nami's taste was. Ignoring her once again, I nabbed one of the clementines and sat down in front of my
ねえ
PC.
ねえ、なんでこれ捨てちゃうの？
だっていらないし。
じゃあさ、これナナにちょうだい。
はあ？
いいじゃん、どうせ捨てるならさ。たまにはお兄ちゃんらしく妹にプレゼントの一つでもしてよ。
You call it a present, but it's just something I don't want that you suddenly decided to appropriate.
勝手に持ってけば。
本当？やったー。
Literal walking PMS. As soon as she had gotten my approval, she put the banger on her wrist. Takes a real cheap war to get this success over such a cheap piece of junk. Hui. Ey, du bist echt gemein.
お兄、どう？似合う？
全然。
おっそ。お兄のバーカ。
It was supposed to be a present, so why was she treating me like this? The sisters weren't supposed to call their brothers mean names. Naja, komm doch an, wenn du dich wie ein Arschloch gegenüber sie verhältst, dann brauchst du dich nicht wundern. What were they teaching girls nowadays? Go play 100 euro game this instant, Alter. She was grinning from ear to ear. I mean, I was getting extremely pissed off.
これ気に入っちゃったからもう返さないもんね。っていうか、お兄からプレゼントもらうなんて初めてのような気がする。しょうがないから大事にしてあげるよ。
As if I cared. No one asked you to take care of it. I didn't even get it for you in the first place.
もう用は済んだんだから帰れ。僕は暇じゃないんだ。邪魔するな。
Oh. The moment I said it, Nami pursed her lips.
そんな言い方しなくてもいいじゃん。それにみかんまだ食べてないし、お茶もまだ出してもらってないよ。
おめえに飲ませるお茶はね。
Nami glared at me intently, hands on her hips. Before long, her eyes started welling up and then.
わかったよ。そんなに邪魔なら帰る。
ああ、さっさと頼む。
お兄のバカ。お兄なんてみかんの皮で三つ星食らって失明しちゃえ。あとバングルは返さないからね。バカ。
Yelling in a migraine inducing voice that resounded throughout the entire room, Nami grabbed her bag and ran out with insane speed. Oh, thank God, it was finally over. Hanging out with Nami always took everything out of me. Why did she insist on coming here every week when I had made it very clear I was sick of it? Read the room, FFS. Oh yeah, FFS for fuck's sake.
ファーストメルトは期待以上の結果に終わりました。
Ah ja, Nozomi. The first melt has concluded with results that exceeded our expectations.
G レートの上昇率は当初の予測からわずかな誤差があった程度です。
バイオリズムコントロールも順調なのかね。
渋谷の G レートは他のエリアと比べて高い値を持っていると同時に安定性についても特筆したものがあります。
それゆえに意図的に操作しやすいということか。そして渋谷にいる人々のバイオリズムを急激に引き上げることもまた。
実験結果についてはレポートをご参照ください。納得していただける成果を上げております。
貴様が成果を出すのは当然だ。そのために高い金と多くの人材を提供しているのだからな。
実効性については理解しているよ。この数ヶ月だけでも我が会の信者が数倍に膨れ上がっているからね。
それではプロジェクトノアは次の段階へと進ませます。よろしいですね。
Project Noah.
コードサンプルの件はどうするのだ。すでに3人分は確保したとはいえ、目標数値には達しておらんではないか。
いかにも。数値達成のためには最低でも5人分はなければ厳しい。
サンプル保持者は集まりつつあります。あとは採取するのみ。
ならばその件は任せる。
信仰の救いあれ。くれぐれも慎重にことを進めるように。
はい、心得ております。
So langsam verdichtet sich ein Plot. I should probably go to bed. Okay. Sagt er sogar selbst. Stifling a yawn, I looked at the clock on my PC. It was 5 a.m. Boah. I had spent another entire day grinding on ESO, but no monsters had ended up dropping the rare items I was looking for. I had been binging it for about 8 hours straight, but still no luck. Man, that happened to me all the time though. I glanced over to the side of my computer desk. The D-sword I'd bought yesterday was still leaning against it. I had set it there within reach of me so I could grab it any moment. Speaking of the sword, the damn thing hadn't glowed at all. I'd been hoping that it would transform into some new badass form like the one Sena had, but I'd been extremely out of luck there too. On my monitor, Grimm's avatar had just leveled up. My Nightheart was already max level, so he wouldn't go any higher. It's probably about time to make a new character my first after Lieselotte, I thought to myself as I rubbed my sleepy eyes. XP sure was something. It was a well-known concept in RPGs, but I figured XP existed in real life too. Back when I had first started playing ESO, I'd been a total nobody who didn't know right from left, but now I was known far and wide as lightning fast Nightheart, the most powerful player in Base Laird. Let's say the person controlling me had lost a chunk of my XP for some reason or another. If that had happened, then it would make completely sense why I had forgotten things. It could also be where the discrepancies in my memory had come from. Things like Shogun and the Demon Girl. Before a chunk of my XP got wiped, maybe it was perfectly normal for me, the person controlling me, to post in chat rooms under the handle Shogun, and for me to live like a complete normie with the Demon Girl. No, that just wasn't possible. But if it was possible, then maybe I used to possess an incredible power that would allow me to oppose the Demon Girl. Was I the only person who thought like this? I didn't really feel like it was a particularly weird way of thinking. Human beings could only really make judgments based on their own sense of values that they would come up with themselves. So maybe it wasn't just me living my day-to-day life, making the wrong decisions, but everyone in the entire world. Back when I was little, I had gone to the dentist, and I remembered them telling me, "You did such a good job putting up with that much pain. You were a very good patient." At the time I thought I was amazing for making it through to the end, and I felt really proud of myself. Thinking back on it now though, that comment was probably based on the degree of pain felt compared to the progression of the cavity. But even if the level of pain was the same, there would be people that could bear the pain and there would be people who couldn't. In other words, I came to realize that how some recognized and felt such sensations completely depend on the person. Childbirth, for example. I had often seen on the internet that women could endure the pain of it, but it would be completely impossible for men. Another example would be marathon runners. Maybe they excelled not because of their physical strength, but because of their ability to endure pain. There were also sadists and masochists. If there were people that found pleasure in being hurt, there would also be people that derived pleasure from hurting others. In other words, I believed that in the way people felt things, along with their ability to handle pain and suffering, all varied from person to person. Perhaps the level of pain in the tooth aches and headaches I got from time to time actually far surpassed the limits of pain an ordinary person could take. And if that were true, then perhaps if I had passed the same pain onto someone else, this sheer agony would cause them to go into shock and die. The conclusion I ended up coming to as a result of this line of thing was more or less a self-righteous delusion that perhaps I was special.
特殊な人間か。っていうか、何を大げさな。
Also I denied it. I was sure that every person had delusions like this. Every man longs to be the strongest in the world. Every human being wants to think that they are special, that they are the chosen one. We all want to think that a dramatic story full of twists and turns, like the ones you would find in TV and movies, is waiting for us in the future. The so-called desire to be a hero, or to be blunt, textbook Shanibuyo shit. Of course, even if I didn't do those kind of desires, it could very well be my destiny to triumph over the demon girl. But if that really was my destiny and I had to make it come true, I would need a number of conditions to be met first. At the very least, I absolutely needed the ability to use cheats. Be it cheat codes for special attacks or maybe even a god mode of some kind. I didn't want to deal with any pain or fear. If I couldn't cheat in some way, or in other words, if I was supposed to achieve that with my own power, there was no way I would be able to do it. Which was why, if the person controlling me had lost all of my XP, that would be a huge blow to me, a super effective one. I just barely got to school on time. It probably wasn't the best idea to stay up playing video until early in the morning on the school night. I would have to run in order to make it on time. When I got to the classroom door, I stopped and took deep breaths to try and catch my breath. I couldn't act in a way that would make me stand out to my classmates. For me, even something like being late would be fatal. As the Dukian's eyes all zeroed in on me, my life would be over. I slowly made my way into the classroom, keeping my head down, and couldn't let myself make eye contact with anyone. Of course, I didn't give a mindless greeting like good morning either. Trying to make my presence as undetectable as possible, I made myself invisible and turned toward my seat. That was how I always did things. And today was no different. I made it to my seat without any issue and sat down. Soon after, I laid my head and arms face down on the desk, and from there I was safe until homeroom started. But I only got to relax for a split second before someone's hand clapped against my back.
今週は3回も学校来てんじゃねえか。真面目だな。
Misumi-kun again. Even though he was really getting on my nerves, I would feel bad if I ignored him. So I started to reluctantly he raised my head, only to hesitate. Was this Misumi-kun, the real one? 2 days ago I'd done what the demon girl told me to do and called him. When I talked to him, he had been very clearly acting strange. I mean, he had told me that Dreamy was our classmate, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world, which I hadn't expected at all. Maybe the demon girl had brainwashed him, or maybe it was something else. Maybe the person controlling him had been switched out.
おい、どうした？早くも爆睡モードか？
An electronic sound suddenly rang throughout the classroom. I felt a faint vibration near my chest. It was my cell phone. Shit, now of all times. What kind of asshole would call it at a time like this? And not only was my phone going off, but even though I was sure I'd set it to vibrate, the ringtone was going off too. I guess I must have messed up the settings.
鳴ってるぞ、タク。
Yes, I know, goddammit. Should I just answer it? But if I did, that Misumi-kun would know I was faking being asleep. Besides, I didn't like taking on the phone. But also, if I didn't pick it up, I would annoy the rest of the class. And considering how it was ringing loudly throughout the classroom, it had to be doing that already. I wasn't supposed to stand out. This was really, really bad.
おい、出ないのか。マジで寝てる？
Damn it, I had been freaking out over what to do. I had already lost my chance. I couldn't move now. The sound and vibration stopped. The call must have gone to voicemail. I let out a sigh of relief, that soft enough that Mr. Raccoon wouldn't be able to hear it. It was definitely the right call for me to have figured out how to use the voicemail
なあ
function.
タク、相手は誰だ？まさか女か？この前一緒に帰ったあのメガネの子だろ。そうなんだろ？
Damn it, you're so annoying. I just wanted him to stop bothering me. That phone call had already made me stand out way too much. Had Mr. Raccoon always been this persistent? Though he had always been way too friendly with me. I thought he at least had the capacity to take a hint.
やめなよ。
Ooh. Remy! I heard a voice from right next to me,
そっ
Sumikun.
としておいてあげたら、大臣。なんだか疲れてるみたいだし。
She was here in my classroom, like it was the most normal thing in the
ど
world.
うせゲームのやりすぎだろ。お前、タクに甘すぎるぜ。
だって大臣は女の敵だし、そういう人には優しくしません。
They were having a friendly conversation like it was the most normal thing in the world. She was blending in like it was the most normal thing in the world. I was too scared to look up. I didn't want to acknowledge that she was there.
ま、別にお前に優しくしてもらわなくても、俺には優しくしてくれる女はたくさんいるんだよ。
だからそういう発言が良くないんだってば。彼女さんが聞いたら泣くよ。今の大臣の彼女が誰だかわかんないけど。ほら、チャイム鳴った。先生来るよ。
Had the dimming girl really been my classmate all along? No, there was no way. She hadn't been here 2 days ago, or at the very least, the only person that had spoken to me that day was Miss Mikon. I hadn't gone to school yesterday, so I wasn't sure about that one. But when I came today, she was here. How? How had she managed to worm her way in? Everyone took their seat once the sound of the bell announced the start of homeroom. Sensing that, I looked up cautiously. I surveyed the room with just my eyes. I wanted the voice from earlier to have been just an illusion. In order to prove it to myself, I needed to make sure that the girl was nowhere to be found in the classroom. I didn't see her. I didn't see anything that even remotely resembled her. Did that mean she really was a hallucination? My seat was in the 5th row from the front. There were 9 rows in total. She wasn't in any of the rows in front of me. Das kann aber heißen, dass sie neben dir ist oder hinter dir. Which meant she was behind me. But I couldn't turn around. I couldn't allow myself to stand out. Damn it, this was so frustrating. Was she really here in my classroom or not? I didn't feel chills on the back of my neck. No one was looking at me. I didn't feel a gaze. Was she here or not? Here. Which was it? Da sein oder nicht da sein, das ist die Frage. Still staring at the surface of the desk, I tried to detect her by just her presence alone. And right as I tried, I heard my homeroom teacher enter the classroom. I didn't remember the teacher's name. I had a feeling that it was Tsukaji or Tsukada, or at least something like that. He was a PE teacher that would guarantee that had graduated from an athletic college, and he was a total musclehead. However, he didn't really act like it, nor did he employ corporal punishments like one might expect him to. If anything, he was the type of teacher that knew how to take a joke. For some reason the class all started murmuring about something, but right now I was occupied with trying to detect the demon girl. Did I really expect to be able to sense her by presence alone? This wasn't some manga. Was I an idiot?
今日から転校生が入ることになった。
Yep, alright, listen up everyone, from today on, yeah. My homeroom teacher mumbled and had said to the class. So that was why the room was so noisy.
折原、みんなに挨拶しろ。
I didn't hear the supposed transfer student say anything. Was there really one here? I glanced towards the door. Und ich würde sagen, an dem Punkt beende ich jetzt einfach mal diese Folge. Und ja, wir haben die schon mal gesehen. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal.